Welcome back, students. So if you had seen the WhatsApp postings that I had sent yesterday to your group, you must have seen that we have started with the new short story, The Sound Machine. And you must have seen that I have sent you a PDF file for the first 4 pages of the story, and that has been followed by 4 audio explanations of the 4 pages one by one. So we will pick up from page 5, second paragraph. According to your book, it is page 103. Just a brief recapitulation. We have met with an inventor called Klausner. Klausner was working in a small wooden room, which was his laboratory, and he had made a machine which could detect sounds. I had told you that our normal ears can detect sounds within a certain range. If the sound frequency is too low, or if the sound frequency is very high, our ears cannot catch them. Klausner has made a machine which can catch sounds which are of very low frequency and of higher frequencies. We had also seen that while he was working, his only friend, Dr. Scott, had come to the room. Klausner wasn't very happy with the arrival of Dr. Scott. He had felt disturbed, but it is through the conversation that he had with Dr. Scott, we came to know what was Klausner actually trying to do and what was the machine he had made was all about. So, second paragraph of page 103. The doctor looked at the fly and he smiled. Remember, in the previous paragraph, Klausner had said that the fly that is sitting on that roll of copper wire might be making some sounds, might be producing some music which we are unable to hear. So the doctor looked at that fly and smiled. He was still standing by the door with his hand on the doorknob. Well, he said, so you are going to check up on that? He smiled and told Klausner, well, you are going to check whether that fly can make a sound or not, whether the fly is singing or not, what kind of a sound is that fly making with the help of your machine? Some time ago, Klausner said, I made a simple instrument that proved to me the existence of many odd inaudible sounds. That means this machine is Klausner's second attempt. He says, previous to this, I had made a simple instrument. That instrument had detected sounds which were not audible to the normal ears, meaning the machine had detected sounds which normally our ears under normal circumstances cannot hear. But that happened with the first machine. Often I have sat and watched the needle of my instrument recording the presence of some sound vibrations in the air when I myself could hear nothing. He is saying, when I had made that first instrument, that instrument had something like a voltmeter with a needle. The needle would move when I would switch on that instrument. The movement of the needle indicated that the machine was able to catch those sounds which he himself could not hear. But that machine, the first one, could only detect and catch the sound which our ears cannot hear. But that machine could not reproduce that sound and make Klausner hear it. This second machine, which is in the story, has that quality. It can not only detect the inaudible sounds, it can convert those sounds into frequencies which can be heard normally by the human ear. And those are the sounds I want to listen to. I had found out that sounds exist which we cannot hear. So I have made this machine because I want to hear those sounds which we normally cannot hear. I want to know where they come from and who or what is making them. My experimentation is I want to know from where those sounds are coming of very low frequencies or very high frequencies. I want to know who is making those sounds or what is making those sounds. And that machine on the table there, the doctor said, is that going to allow you to hear these noises? The doctor pointed to the machine in that black box and said, you have made that machine, and that machine is going to catch those sounds and you will be able to hear them? It may, who knows? Klausner said, my machine might catch those sounds. Who knows what is going to happen? I have not yet used this second machine, so I am not sure whether it's going to work or not. It may catch the sounds, it may not be able to catch the sounds and make them audible to me. I will have to check. So far, I have had no luck. Till now, this machine has not been a success. I have not been able to hear the sounds which normally people cannot hear. But I have made some changes in it, and tonight I am ready for another trial. He says, I have brought about some changes in the machine, and tonight or today evening I am going to go for another trial. I'll have to try out and see whether my machine works or not. This machine, he said, touching it with his hands, is designed to pick up sound vibrations that are too high-pitched for reception by the human ear and to convert them to a scale of audible ones. Now listen carefully. You know, I told you today only that the human ear can only hear sounds of a certain range of frequencies. I'll just give you an example. Forget about the science part of it. Imagine sounds that are between 2000 to 5000 hertz, which is the unit of sound, we can hear. For example, anything less than 2000 we cannot hear. And if the frequency of the sound is higher than 5000, we cannot hear. Now what Klausner is saying is, my machine is going to do something. What is it going to do? My machine will catch the sounds which are of higher frequencies, more than say 5000 hertz. After catching those sounds, this machine will convert those sounds within a range of 2000 to 5000 hertz. And that is why I will be able to hear those sounds. So my machine will do two things. Number one, it will be able to catch the sounds which are of very high frequency. Next, it will be able to convert those high frequency sounds into audible frequencies which I will be able to hear, which other people with the help of my machine will be able to hear. I tune it in almost like a radio. He is saying that my machine functions like a radio. When you switch on a radio, when you go from one station to another, say you are listening to Calcutta station, you want to listen to Siliguri station. What do? You turn the knob. What are you actually doing? You are actually changing the frequency of the sound. Calcutta is beaming radio waves at certain frequency. Siliguri is beaming at certain frequency. You are just adjusting the frequencies to catch those sounds. My machine functions in the same way. If I tune my machine to 30,000 hertz, then the machine will be able to catch those sounds whose frequencies are 30,000 hertz. How do you mean? The doctor is not a man of physics, so he doesn't understand. So he says, what do you mean? I don't quite understand. It isn't complicated. Klausner said, it's not very difficult to understand. I will explain it to you in simple words. Say, I wish to listen to the squeak of a bat. The sound made by a bat is called squeaking. And Klausner said he wanted to listen to the sound made by a bat. That's a fairly high-pitched sound, about 30,000 vibrations a second. He says, the frequency of the squeaking of a bat is very high. It is about 30,000 vibrations per second, meaning it is of the frequency of 30,000 hertz, which we cannot hear. The average human ear can't quite hear it. Our normal ears cannot hear the squeaking of a bat because of its high frequency. Now, if there were a bat flying around this room and I tuned into 30,000 on my machine, I would hear the squeaking of that bat very clearly. This is what I was telling you, that supposing I adjust the dial of my machine to 30,000 hertz and imagine a bat is there in the room making a sound of 30,000 hertz. Then my machine will be able to catch that squeak of the bat, convert it into audible frequency, and I will be able to hear it. I would even hear the correct note, F sharp or B flat or whatever it might be, but merely at a much lower pitch. Don't you understand? Not only the sound, I will also be able to detect the tone of that sound made by the bat. Mr. Scott, do you understand what I am telling you? The doctor looked at the long black coffin box. And you are going to try it tonight? Yes. Now the doctor looked at the box. We do not know whether the doctor understood the explanation or not. He only said, you are going to carry out this experiment tonight? And Klausner said, yes. Well, I wish you luck. The doctor said, okay, I wish you good luck in your experiment. He glanced at his watch. The doctor looked at his watch. My goodness, he said, I must fly. My God, I am late. My patients are waiting. I'll have to run. Goodbye and thank you for telling me. Goodbye, Klausner, and thank you for giving me the details of what you want, how your machine functions, and what actually you are planning to do. I must call again sometime and find out what happened. Call again means I will come to you again whenever I have the time. I will get from you the information of what had happened, whether you had succeeded in your experiment or not. The doctor went out and closed the door behind him. Now, I will conclude today's class by telling you something about this doctor and his relationship with Klausner. Remember, Klausner was so very dedicated and devoted to his work as an inventor that he did not have friends. He was considered to be crazy, mad, eccentric by his neighbors. He used to lead a very lonely life, spending all his time in experimentation and invention. His only friend was Dr. Scott. Dr. Scott seemed to understand the mind of Klausner. Dr. Scott did not consider him mad or crazy or eccentric. Dr. Scott knew how devoted this man was to his work. Therefore, he was very understanding and sympathetic towards Klausner. That is why he never got angry when Klausner made it clear that he was not very happy with the arrival of the doctor because he was feeling disturbed in his work. Rather, the doctor had stayed there and forced Klausner to explain the working of the machine. You will notice there is a close bond of friendship between Klausner and this doctor, and you will have to remember, in ISC you can be asked about this mutual bonding between Klausner and the doctor, and you might have to write a critical analysis of the true friendship that existed between Klausner and the doctor. We will see the further closeness and bonding between the two when we come to the last 2 or 3 pages of this story. We will see how loving, affectionate and considerate the doctor was towards Klausner and who partnered Klausner in every whim and fancy of his, because when Klausner will carry out the experimentation on a bigger scale with a tree, the person who will come to him to help him out will be the doctor. And we will see that despite Klausner's craziness and madness and eccentricity, the doctor would not mind. He would be holding Klausner's hands right till the end of the story, showing the bond of friendship that existed between the two. Remember, the friendship between these two is an important aspect of the story and can be asked as a question in ISC. Thank you.